Chapter 4. Zara's mother removed the rag, revealing an assortment of raw ingredients. "I'll point," she dictated. "You tell me what it is and what it's used for." Looking at her mother incredulously, Zara responded, "I don't understand why I have to do this. I don't plan on taking over the business." If the comment stung her mother, she hid it expertly. Instead, she offered a sympathetic smile. "I know, but you do have to stand in for us once in a while. Furthermore, everyone should have this knowledge for their own good. For instance, what would you use if you had trouble sleeping?" Zara had to give it to her mom. She knew how to pivot into getting what she wanted. Zara inspected the lineup of plants, crystals, powders, tinctures, fruits, and vegetables. She pointed to a glass vial. "Driftreed extract," she answered. "It's a remedy for sleep disorders. Also, Gladenites believe it wards off evil spirits." "Good old-fashioned Warren's magic," her mother joked. "How about nausea?" Zara pointed to a bulbous plant. "Wisproot." Her mother's smile widened. Zara didn't know how she did it, but when her mother smiled, it seemed like her eyes did too. "Very good. Now what if you get a cold?" Rolling her eyes, Zara nodded her head towards a fruit. "Frost bloom berries, but everybody knows that." Her mother laughed. "Okay, okay." The doorbell rang, and a girl with a blonde bob entered the establishment. "Hello," Leela sang. "I'm looking for a cure for tests that are too long." Zara's mother raised her chin in feigned professionalism. "You'll find that upstairs in my daughter's room. She's a master study buddy." "Not tonight," her father countered, entering from the storeroom and carrying a crate of wolfsbane root, stardust ferns, and thistle petals. "I had to move some of the stock upstairs, so I'm afraid there's not a lot of room at the moment. There's still room to sleep, just not a lot of room for two talented kids to study." He walked behind an aisle. "What? Why?" Zara asked, concerned. Since we're short on blaze hair feet, we need to move some other merchandise. Your mother and I actually have to go pick it up in a few minutes." "So where are we supposed to study?" Her mother shrugged. "You could use the cellar." Zara's eyes widened. "It's gross down there." From behind a massive shelf, her father tossed some advice. "Just stay on the wooden planks. You should be able to avoid the mud. We'll be back soon." Sighing, Zara led Leela through the storeroom, out the back door, and into a cramped alley. From there, she unlocked the double doors that led to the cellar. As they descended the stone steps, a musty aroma wafted from below. "I'm really sorry about this," Zara expressed. "Nobody ever goes down here." "Nonsense," Leela rebutted. "It's an adventure." Zara struck a match and lit a lantern on the nearest wall. "We used to use this for our storage, but the rains kept seeping in and destroying our backstock, so we moved most of it to the prep room." In wonderment, Leela gazed around the small basement. The ground was a mix of gravel and mud overlaid with planks of wood for walkways. Against the walls were numerous crates, bags, and shelves holding loose items. "Looks like you kept some of it down here." Nodding, Zara followed Leela's gaze to a motley assortment of antiques. "Yeah, they kept things down here that they knew wouldn't sell, or things they didn't want to sell." Leela's eyes were drawn to one item in particular, a crystalline globe no larger than her fist that sat ensconced in a bronze claw. "That is beautiful," she blurted, quite taken with the shimmering quality of the sphere. "May I paint it?" "Aren't we going to study?" Leela laughed. "We can do both. I'm at my most focused when I'm painting anyway." Shrugging, Zara found a chest to place her notes on. "So, I guess we should start with the wandering." She began to dictate from her texts. "The people who discovered the island of Elios shared a common ancestor with what modern tribe?" Leela broke out her traveling art kit and started mixing colors. "The nomads," she answered. "The original tribe probably originated from the coast of the rising sea." "Right. Okay. What about this? How did the group find Ilios, according to legend? Her colors mixed. Leela squinted as she studied the crystal ball. Um, they used a map? Incorrect, pupil, Zara teased, mimicking Instructor Abernathy's voice and then dictating from her notes. Like the present-day nomads, their ancestors used celestial bodies in the night sky to guide their way. One, in particular, the leaping archer, supposedly aimed his arrow at the location where the wanderers were destined to settle. After covering a page in her art pad with a smoky charcoal, Leela began applying saffron and steel blue paint to capture the reflective quality of the ball. I remember now. They thought it was some sort of destiny. Right. Zara admired Leela, not just because of her intelligence and talent, but her easy acceptance of circumstance. She made herself at home wherever she found herself. Not many others from the historic district would feel at ease in a dirty inner Warren's basement. Not once had Leela ever shown distaste or revulsion at her surroundings. Conversely, Zara would never have descended into the cellar if Leela had not accompanied her. Aside from the moldy smell and the darkness, which seemed impossible to vanquish regardless of how many lanterns were lit, the bizarre items that populated the bowing shelves unnerved her. She was sure that the eyes from an unflattering bust of Theodorus Polemarch, legendary hero of the Reach Wars, followed her when she moved, and she always kept away from the crate around which rat remains were always found. There's something unusual about this, Leela observed quietly, her brows furrowing. Maybe Zara was mistaken about her friend's adaptability. I know. I didn't think we'd be studying down here either. It's creepy. Sorry. Leela continued, concentrating on her brushstrokes and looking at the crystal ball. No, not that. The globe. Zara got off her knees and moved close to her friend so she could get a better look. The ball had started to glow, and from within the sphere, a dull purple smoke swirled in a dance with the minutest of sparkles. Was that the effect you were going for? Zara asked. I wasn't trying to channel any magic at all, Leela replied, concerned. Sometimes it happens, involuntarily. That's not the issue. There's an energy coming from it. Was the ball a proxy for someone else? I don't think so. I think my parents call it a soothing stone. It's supposed to help with upset babies and headaches or something. Do you think someone charged it with magic without draining it? Leela leaned forward a little and squinted at the item before returning to her pad. I think it's something else. I'm going to set an intention. Zara took 2 steps back so she could watch Leela's painting and the globe at the same time. As Leela curved her brush around the edge of the two-dimensional sphere, the real one seemed to rotate in the bronze claw, its talons a silhouette against the brightening orb. A hum emanated from it, vibrating the shelf and some of the other items on it. It's like an energy is pushing back, Leela commented. Do you think something's inside it? Leela looked at Zara briefly, sharing the same thought. She dipped her brush into the charcoal color and placed it next to the painted sphere. Again, she looked at Zara for tacit permission, and once she had it, Leela ferociously slashed the brush across the middle of the circle, dragging the blackness of the negative space into the ball. The real ball exploded, breaking off the fingers of the bronze claw and sending glass across the room. The shock wave pounded the air out of Zara's lungs and catapulted her backward. Tiny specks of glass pierced her skin as her lower back cracked against the trunk's edge. Her inertia sent her into a backflip over the box, but it felt like the entire world turned over. She crashed into a box of jars, crushing it and breaking much of the glass inside. Simultaneously, a candelabra punted her face, and pieces of wood thumped into her arms, which rose too late to protect her head. The roar of the explosion faded, but her ears rang from the assault, and a couple objects fell to the floor in thuds. Once she was certain that the catastrophe was over, she opened her eyes and lowered her arms. The cellar was a mess. Through the dust, Zara could make out chunks of wood, old papers, shards of glass, tattered fabric, and various sundries lying scattered on the ground. She took inventory of herself before trying to move. Her exposed skin itched and burned in a few places,
Her tailbone hurt, and her head throbbed where the brass candelabra had struck her. She didn't see any blood, just red dots where tiny bits of glass had impacted her skin. Cautiously, she crawled forward on her hands and knees. Leela, she said, where are you? Are you okay? The lack of a response worried her, and she picked up the pace. Leela! She ignored the pain in her knees caused by the edges of the floor planks and hurried toward where Leela had been. The crate that Zara had placed her notes on had shifted a few centimeters backwards, revealing a foot on the other side. Leela! Zara shouted, rounding the corner to get a full view. At first, though it made no logical sense, Zara thought that her friend had changed clothes. Instead of the long line blue silk shirt pants that Zara had expected to see, this person wore an elaborate purple robe with gold trimmed sleeves and rigid shoulder pauldrons. She had never seen clothing like it before, except maybe on high ranking city officials. But even so, the material looked very different, more rustic yet fancier at the same time. Before Zara could get a look at the person's face, she heard a mutter near the entrance. Zara? Leela muttered from against the bottom step. Leela! Zara shouted, crawling past the stranger and scrambling to her friend. Splashes of paint blotted Leela's blue outfit, and her face was covered in dirt. Zara helped sit her up. Are you hurt? Discombobulated, Leela looked at herself through half-lidded eyes. I think I'm just bruised, banged up. Zara examined her to verify the assessment. Leela had the same red specks, and part of her shirt was torn, but other than that, she seemed to be in approximately the same condition as Zara. What happened? Looking back at where the globe had sat, Zara saw broken shelves in a half-circle area that had been swept clean of debris, aside from the fingerless claw base, which had impacted into the dirt below and sent streaks outward from the collision. Not far from there lay the unmoving stranger, on his or her side, folded up against a wooden beam. Leela saw the stranger as well, and her eyes widened. How? Where? Zara put a finger to her lips and crawled to a dark corner where she picked up an old staff and a metal serving tray. She gave the tray to Leela and crept closer to the body, holding the staff firmly with both hands. The stranger's golden hair was shoulder length, but it was splayed enough to cover the person's face. One of the golden shoulder pauldrons was dented, possibly from the wooden pillar. Surprisingly, there was very little dirt or debris on the clothing, though tendrils of faint purple smoke drifted away from the body. Apprehensively, Zara allowed one of her hands to break free from the stick and reach out shakily towards the body. Her fingertips slid across the metal shoulder piece and clutched the edge. Taking a deep breath, she pulled the torso toward her so that the body lay on its back, revealing the face. Subtle forehead wrinkles, laugh lines, and crow's feet suggested the woman was in her 40s. Handsome light brown brows arched gracefully above her eyes, beneath which ran an elegantly slender nose and rosy, delicate lips. The features looked familiar, somehow. Who is she? Leela asked from directly behind Zara, causing her to gasp in fright. Gods, don't scare me like that. Leela peered over Zara's shoulder at the interloper. Wait a minute. I've seen her before. She rounded her friend and brought her inspection within millimeters of the mystery woman's face. This time, it was Leela's turn to gasp. It's... Who? Leela looked at Zara, astounded and confused. It's Alara Evergreen.